And welcome back. Zillow did it yet again. They revised upward their housing market forecast for home prices this year. They cite tight inventory levels as the primary reason for this upper revision in their forecast. However, though, even though they're forecasting that home prices will actually increase this year, they're actually forecasting for home sales to decrease to the lowest levels going back to the year of 2010. So in today's video, I'm going to share Zillow's latest housing market forecast that was just published today at the time of filming this video. But before we get started, if you guys are looking for a real estate agent referral, whether you're looking to buy or sell a house anywhere in the US, then check out that link below or go to homeandmoney.com/Jason to get started today. And with that said, let's begin today's video. I have a lot to share. Okay, let's first talk about their housing market predictions for home sales in 2023. It says here they're forecasting for 4.2 million existing home sales this year. That would be a 17% decrease compared to 2022. However, based on my own analysis here, at 4.2 million, we haven't seen home sales that low going back to the year of 2010, when at that time there was 4.19 million existing home sales in the United States. And you can see that right here. This is a upload I pulled from the National Association of Realtors website here. Last year, there was 6.12 million existing home sales for the entire year of 2021. In 2020, it was 5.64 million. But at 4.2 million, we haven't seen levels that low going back to 2010, when at that time, there was just under 4.2 million home sales. So that's pretty significant because they're basically calling for the number of home sales to be at a 13-year low this year due to tight inventory levels we're seeing right now, but frankly also because rates are very, very high as well, right? I'll give you guys a rate update here in just a little bit. But here's a look at home sales in 2022, 2021, and 2020. Back in 2022, just over 5 million home sales. So here's a look at the changes here based on their forecast for 4.2 million to 4.2 million. Can't talk. So compared to 2022, last year, that'd be a decrease down by 17%. Compared to 2021, down a whopping 31%. And also compared to 2020, when there was 5.6 million home sales, that'd be a decrease of 26%. And going back to Zillow's forecast here, it says Zillow's expectation for existing home sales this year was revised downward due to tight inventory levels and challenges regarding housing affordability. In other words, we have a lack of homes for sale, and of course, because rates and prices have absolutely skyrocketed over the past few years, of course, we have a lot of affordability challenges that home buyers are facing right now. So Zillow's expectation of 4.2 million home sales this year is down slightly from last month's projection of 4.4 million houses. And that, of course, would represent a 17% decrease from last year's home sales. Also, expectations for modest declines in mortgage rates should stoke or increase home buying demand some, but low inventory and high home prices will likely offset these impacts, limiting the potential for home sales this year. So it's pretty interesting because they're basically calling for rates to decrease later this year, but they're saying here that because we have low inventory levels and high home prices, that's going to be limiting the benefits of those decreases in rates this year. And of course, that will limit potential home sales as well. So that's home sales. I want to also discuss their housing market forecast for prices this year. Again, an upper revision from their previous forecast. So Zillow's latest forecast calls for home values, much different than the median sold price. So looking at home values compared to 1 year ago. So home values will grow by 5% this year. Low inventory continues to put upward pressure on prices and appreciation expectations. It says here Zillow's expectation for the nation's typical home value was revised upward once again this month. Zillow forecasts the national Zillow Home Value Index which is more or less an index based on home value changes in the US. They expect that index to rise by 5% by the time we hit the end of 2023. In other words, an increase in home values up by 5% this year is their expectation. That's an upward revised forecast from their previous forecast, which last month they called for a 3.9% increase in home values in 2023. Also, the real estate market predictions is also for home values to increase by 5.8% this May compared to May of 2024. And again, one of the main reasons why they're citing that home values will increase by 5% this year is due to tight inventory levels. It says the number of active for sale listings, a fancy way to say the number of homes for sale in May, was the lowest for that month in their records history, which dates back to 2018. So the number of houses for sale for existing houses this May was the lowest May going back to at least 2018, according to Zillow here. So regarding that, here's what they had to say a couple of days ago regarding what happened in May. So new listings decreased by 23% compared to May of 2022. Of course, because a lot of people do not want to give up their historically low rates, given the fact that rates are around 7% right now. And of course, average rates in 2020, 2021 were around 3%. That's why we're seeing a huge decrease of new listings. And in fact, this is actually causing total active inventory, or the number of houses for sale, to decrease a whopping 45.7% below May 2019's levels. And in fact, this May's active inventory levels marked the fewest active listings in any May on record going back to at least 2018. Given the lack of new listings, in other words, new houses being listed for sale, it's likely that June will also see a new low watermark. So they're basically saying here is that due to the fact that we see a huge decrease of new listings down by 23% this May, we're likely to see even lower inventory levels in June, which is just absolutely mind-blowing because we typically see more houses for sale in the spring home buying season, especially May through June each and every year. So it'd be absolutely unusual to see the least, and frankly would be discouraging to see if we actually saw fewer homes for sale in June compared to May. And Zillow says here, these low inventory levels are a probable cause of strong home value growth this spring. Having said that, home values have been increasing more or less ever since February this year. Based on data from Redfin, when looking at the US median home sold price, home prices are up by about 10% since February this year. Going back to Zillow's housing market forecast here, it says the shortage and persistent trickle of new listings entering the market spurred the fastest month-over-month home value appreciation in nearly a year. That was for May. Newly pending home sales, a measure of contracts being signed between buyers and sellers for existing houses, in May rose at a stronger rate than the market tends to see during this time of year, even as mortgage rates remain elevated, presenting affordability challenges for many. Now, speaking of average mortgage rates, take a look at this according to the Mortgage News Daily. Let me just refresh this. So as of today, which is May 13th, the average 30-year fix for people with great credit is at 6.98%, a 15 years at 6.35%, and VA and FHA is around 6.7%. And when looking at average rates 1 year ago for a 30-year fix, it was at 6.18%. Therefore, rates have increased by 0.8 percentage points compared to 12 months ago. And lastly, I want to share the markets that have increased the most compared to 1 year ago, and also the areas that have experienced the biggest increases as well. So home values are down compared to 1 year ago, this May compared to last May, in 27 of the 50 largest metros, according to Zillow. In fact, the biggest decreases year over year was Austin, Texas, down by 11.2%. That was followed by San Francisco, down by 9.3%. San Jose saw a decrease of 8.4%. Phoenix down by 7%. And Las Vegas also down by around 7% as well. In contrast, The areas that experienced the biggest increases in prices were Richmond, Virginia, a gain of 5.8%. That was followed by Miami, Florida, a gain of 5.4%. Oklahoma City, a gain of 4.9%. Kansas City, a gain of 4.1%. And Cincinnati, Ohio, a gain of 4%. As you can see right here, the top 5 markets right there, a lot of these are actually in the Midwest, coincidentally. In contrast, the areas that experienced the biggest decreases were actually in the western side of the US. Because after Las Vegas, again, a decrease of nearly 7% was followed by Sacramento, California, down by 6.8%, Seattle down by 6.8% as well. And that was followed by San Diego, Salt Lake City, Utah, Denver, Los Angeles, and Portland, Oregon. In contrast, the areas again that had the biggest increases were these top 5 right here, followed by Hartford, Connecticut, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Cleveland, Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, and Baltimore, Maryland. So I'd love to hear from you guys. What do you guys think about Zillow's housing market forecast for home values to increase by 5% for the entire year this year? Please leave me a comment below. Hope you guys have an awesome day and look forward to seeing you on the next video.